Hey guys, I'm Zach, and I'm here today with RAZZLE to talk about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Rogue One is directed by Gareth Edwards and it stars Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Donnie Yen, Wen Jiang, Mads Mikkelsen, Ben Mendelsohn, Forest Whitaker, Riz Ahmed, Alan Tudyk, and a bunch of other people, guys. Rogue One, as many people know, is the first standalone film in the Star Wars galaxy, or in the galaxy far, far away, if you will. Guys and gals, I was so excited to see this film. This movie was easily one of my most anticipated films of 2016. You could put it up there with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Civil War, Nice Guys, a bunch of films kind of like that, just where I was so excited to see them. And now that I finally got to see Rogue One, I can easily tell you now that it is pretty darn good. I'm going to start right off the bat by saying I did not love this movie, and I don't think it is a great film. It's definitely not as good as Empire Strikes Back. I don't think it's worthy of the best Star Wars movie ever praise that it might be getting, but to some people this might be their favorite Star Wars movie, and I totally see where they're coming from. Just personally, it's not my favorite. Let me start off by telling you what I loved about this film. First of all, I loved the cinematography. Greg Fraser, who did the cinematography for Zero Dark 30, really made this film feel fresh within the Star Wars universe. It felt like a war film that we've all been told that it was going to be. It was dark. The film felt real and raw. There were scenes that harkened me back to war films like Zero Dark 30, other films about the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and how that sort of in-depth, just in-your-face style of action, the real raw action that you can feel from a scene that's directed perfectly or that has the perfect cinematography. There were shots in there that I just didn't understand how they couldn't have been in Star Wars films in the past. Star Wars, the last part of that word is wars, and this was the first film that I really felt the gravity of battle, the gravity of the actions of both Rebel troops and Empire troops. It was incredible. Another thing I really loved about this movie was the direction by Gareth Edwards. Something that Gareth Edwards did really well in Godzilla was showing the scale of Godzilla compared to the world around him, and that was something that I really felt throughout Rogue One, was the scale of the film and the scale of the Death Star in particular. There are beautiful scenes that you have seen in the trailers of the Death Star lingering in orbit or going across the sun during the daytime and really blocking out the light of the sun, just seeing the massive scale of the Death Star and the massive scale of the Empire and the hold it has over the galaxy was incredibly interesting. It was something that I really enjoyed. Which brings me to another thing about the film that I loved, and that was the new light that was shown upon the Empire and the Rebellion. In this film, you really feel the Empire. You really feel the weight of the actions in which the Empire commits, and you feel the rebellion's need, the rebellion's urgency to get things done, to complete some tasks, to really stick it to the Empire, because the Empire is felt wholeheartedly hard throughout this film. Another cool thing about this film was we see a totally different side of the rebellion than we've seen before, at least in Star Wars films. We may have seen it throughout the rest of canon, maybe in some novels or even in some television shows, but the certain aspect of the rebellion that we feel throughout this film, and again, no spoilers coming from me, really bring to light the gray area between the rebellion and the Empire, and it's incredibly interesting for a Star Wars fan, and it makes for a really good part of a good film. Another thing I really enjoyed about this film is that it honestly makes watching Star Wars 77 or A New Hope better. It makes watching that film better, in my personal opinion. I love Star Wars 77. It is incredible. It is my second favorite Star Wars film behind Empire Strikes Back. It is obviously a classic, and I didn't think it could get better, but something that happens in this film, a key point in this film, and a key arc for one of the characters in this film makes Star Wars 77 better. it will shut people up on the internet, and it relieves it relieves something in the film that I've always had a small issue with. I don't have a huge issue with that part of Star Wars 77, but I do see it as a small issue in the film, and this completely alleviates that and just gets rid of that issue altogether. Alright, now we're going to move on to what everyone came to this review for, and that was news on Darth Vader. Now, everyone knew Darth Vader was going to be in this film because of the trailers, and if you didn't watch any of the trailers, then frankly, you shouldn't also be watching a no spoilers review. So, yes, Darth Vader is in this movie. That's about all I'm going to say, other than he is bad ass. That's about it. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't honestly want to ruin it. You will love Darth Vader. Darth Vader's great. That's about it. Next, let's get to some things that I didn't love and I didn't dislike. They're just kind of in the middle for me. And that would be the characters. There are characters in this film that I love. I mean love. Right off the bat, Donnie Yen's Chirrut Imwe is one of my favorite Star Wars characters maybe ever. He is an awesome character. I really loved him. And if you're going to listen to my spoiler review later, I will tell you why he was so good, why I loved his addition into this movie and into the Star Wars lore. But his friend, Baz, is another story. I enjoyed the friendship that they have in the film. I really felt like there was a history there, but I wish that it would have been touched upon a little more. That's really about all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil much for you other than the fact that I just feel like that relationship could have been delved into a little deeper. That kind of goes for a lot of the characters in this film. The character that is being played by Riz Ahmed also, I felt, could have been delved into a little deeper. I don't want to spoil anything, guys, like I said, but just the fact that that character should have probably had some more time devoted to him, I just felt like it was a little bland. As far as everyone's favorite part of the trailers, K2SO, I loved him. He had the best lines in the film. He was funny, he was awesome, he was badass, but again, I felt that there was something lost in translation. I don't know if this was a reshoot issue or an issue with the film's final cut, but I felt like there was probably another arc that was going to be completed for K2SO's character, and it left me wanting more. Now, let's get to the big questions. Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor, the two main characters in this film. Jyn Erso, played by the always lovely, always talented Felicity Jones. I liked her. She was good. Jyn Erso was well written, I felt. I felt that she had proper motivation, and in my spoiler review, I will really get into why I liked Jyn Erso's character and the arc that she takes. At times, I felt like maybe there was a little more room for us to explore her as the main protagonist and to really delve into her story a little more. In terms of Cassian Andor, I felt like he was written okay. I also could have wanted more. That's a common issue, I think, with this film, is that I really wanted more out of the characters. I really just wanted to know more. I thought they could have been fleshed out a little better, but Cassian shows us an interesting side of the rebellion that we've hardly really seen before, and it excites me about that. Cassian did his job. I really felt connected to Cassian and Jyn throughout the whole film. Now we'll get to everyone's favorite guy, Forest Whitaker. Gosh, he can put on a performance in any freaking movie. This guy is a great actor, and he put on a performance in this movie as well. People are going to comment on his voice and say they didn't like what he did. I didn't mind it. I actually thought Forest Whitaker performed very well in this film. I just did not like his character of Saw Gerrera. It was put in there to cross the Clone Wars television show with the live action films. I get it. I just felt like Saw Gerrera didn't really need to be in this movie. I'm not going to go in to spoil anything for you, but I just felt like he could have not really been in the film and kind of just been cut out and really wouldn't have made that much of a difference to the screenplay. As far as Ben Mendelsohn's Orson Krennic and Mads Mikkelsen's Galen Erso are concerned, I will go deeper into my feelings about these characters in my spoiler review. Galen's story is tied very closely to his daughter Jin's, and I want to explain why I like both of their characters so much in a spoiler review more. And Orson Krennic, played by Mads Mikkelsen, was also good. I didn't expect his character to be the way he was, and that was purely my fault by expecting something else. But Orson Krennic also did his job well, and I think on a second viewing, I might enjoy his character more now that I know how he's going to be. Another thing, there is a completely CGI character in this film. I was very excited to see this character at first, but as the film goes on, it edges even more and more into the uncanny valley. And when you see the film, you'll understand what I mean, and I'll discuss this a little more in my spoiler review. Next, I'm going to get into things that I really didn't enjoy about the film. Again, I had just discussed how some of the characters I felt were lacking, and for a Star Wars film, I find that to be very important. But throughout the second act, and even part of the first act, I kind of felt like the film dragged on. I felt like it took a while to find its footing, and I think the film as a whole really faltered because of that. The second act felt very repetitive, and I didn't need some things to occur that did occur. Certain scenes with the rebellion, I felt drug on a little too far, and I think when you see the film, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. All in all, guys, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story was a good movie. It's a movie that I am definitely going to see again in the theaters, and it's a movie that I'm definitely going to add to my Blu-ray collection. Lucasfilm and Disney are killing it. They are absolutely killing it with their films. I don't think this movie is as good as The Force Awakens. I know some people who think it is better than The Force Awakens. It's just personally, I feel like The Force Awakens is a better film. Rogue One is so much fun at the end of the day, and it makes me think so much about Star Wars. It makes me want to watch Star Wars 77 again. It makes me want to watch every Star Wars movie again and just pick up on things that I might not have seen. This brings new life into the original trilogy that I didn't need any more new life. The movies are amazing, but this brings something else to the plate. Guys, all in all, I really liked Rogue One, and that's why I'm going to give Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, an 8 out of 10. Guys, make sure to go out and check out Rogue One. Just one more thing. This film might be more enjoyable if you are a huge Star Wars fan. And if you can pick up on all the beautiful little Easter eggs while you're watching the film, make sure to tell me about your favorite Easter eggs over in the comments section on my spoiler review when I get that up. I would love to talk to you about some of my favorite Easter eggs and some Easter eggs that I thought kind of took me out of the film. Guys, thank you for watching my review, and make sure to click subscribe to RAZZLE. Have a great day.